All right, all right, all right. Hey, everybody. I'm Tom. I'm a stop motion artist specializing in bringing the Godzilla multiverse to life through epic animations, comic book breakdowns, power rankings, and so much more. If you love monsters, motion, and mayhem, you have come to the right place. So earlier, I was working on a video which should be dropping within the next couple hours, and I hear it all. I hear about Death Battle's new Hulk versus Godzilla video, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I gotta check that out. I definitely had to, and yes, I am well aware of who wins. We'll get to that. I kind of went over a couple bits of the video just to test and make sure, the audio is good. Like, I can hear it, you can hear it. I'm still getting used to the whole streamer thing, even though I already have, 30 videos doing it. You'd think I would know what I'm doing, right? But see, that's the trick. That's the key to becoming an adult. You essentially make everything up as you go, right? Oh man, Kongzilla, Toho, G-Fan, Glazer Bros, crying emoji. Yeah, so all in all, I think this should be a good time. I mean, I don't know what how Death Battle reacts to people reacting to their videos. I hope they're cool with this. Obviously, if this video ends up getting demonetized for that very reason, support your boy. Consider becoming a subscriber, maybe even a member. Either way, hitting that like button, it really helps out a lot, and I appreciate ya. Yeah, so this is the first real reaction I've done to another content maker's, video. So we'll see how things go from here. I really don't have a whole lot. I mean, I will, be pausing the video, responding, reacting, whatever, sharing my thoughts. I'm going to be reading chats and such. But otherwise, enjoy the show. Of course, on your end, let me know if there's any audio problems, because this is live. Unless you're from the future, then it's too late. If you're seeing this, it's too late. All right, guys. I say we get started here.
The Hulk versus Godzilla.
Marvel's Green Goliath against the king of the monsters. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Major cred to Death Battle here. I mean, I have watched their videos for years, and their production value, like just the intensity of their animation design, the aesthetics, it's impressive.
What is the Hulk? Is he man? Is he monster? Or is he both?
He's a mean green smashing machine, the angry son of the Gamma Bomb.
A weapon designed by the greatest gamma scientist of all, Dr. Robert Bruce Banner.
But just before it went off, Bruce had to be a hero and save some dumb schmuck who was hanging around the test site. Damn it, Rick.
That day, Bruce Banner died.
And became the Incredible Hulk.
Can I just say right now, there's a reason why Hulk versus Godzilla is like a massive fan favorite when it comes to fantasy fights. And the reason why is because both characters have so much in common. I mean, the duality of Hulk and Bruce Banner, when it comes down to it, on both a psychological, physical, and even spiritual level is... there's a reason why the Hulk is one of Marvel's greatest characters. I mean, he's super popular with good reason. Godzilla, of course, if you're a follower of this channel, you're most likely a Godzilla fan. So Godzilla needs no introduction, but he's going to receive one here in just a bit. But yeah, I do think these characters coming together, coming to blows, is really interesting because in certain respects, I mean, they're essentially two atomic spawned monsters who represent mankind's hubris and they're fighting it out. Like, whoever wins, I can promise you, the real losers would be the poor people who happen to be in the city at the time when these two throw down.
This stuffed giant who must be really glad Bruce wears the purple stretch fit.
Standing 8 feet tall and stronger than 10 million men, the Hulk
Oh, stronger than 10 million men. Well, that means that the Hulk is almost as strong as me. Okay, I had to do it. Sorry.
emerges when Banner's anger flares.
Don't make him angry. You won't like him when he's angry.
But it's even more complex than that. Banner suffers from dissociative identity disorder, with many different Hulks embodying alternate personalities.
Like Joe Fixit, the original Grey Hulk. He's a cunning gangster and the only Hulk who's got that drip.
The Devil Hulk is a violent, overprotective personality that Banner unintentionally manifested as a result of his father's abuse.
Holy shit! Somebody actually drew this?
But the Hulk
Seriously, I think that reaction sums up comic books as a whole. Holy shit, somebody actually drew this? Somebody actually wrote this? Yeah. So, real quick, I mean, everybody knows a guy, probably some old man that screams at clouds. Everybody knows some guy who's like, comic books, they're just for children. But it's like, have you ever read Watchmen, The Walking Dead? I mean, please tell me you've picked up Invincible. Probably don't want to read The Boys. That goes a bit too far. But seriously, there's some messed up shit in comics. No joke.
The big guy is known as Savage Hulk. It seems he also developed from parental abuse, hence his childlike personality. Though I'd argue he's more clever than you'd expect.
The angry...
Okay, hold on, Sean. Kaijutopia versus the Hulk. I mean, either I'm essentially fighting a green version of me, buddy. Nah, man, I'd rather not fight. I mean, even somewhat like... You never want to fight somebody who's full of rage. It's like, nah, I'll pass. I'll just stick to making Godzilla stop motion videos. Thank you.
is the stronger he gets, with no limit.
Except for one, Bruce Banner. See, Banner's relationship with the Hulk is complicated.
Oh!
Okay, so the whole Hulk, basically the madder Hulk gets, the stronger he becomes. So as long as he can get madder and madder, the strong, he could theoretically get stronger ad infinitum. Like, there's no limitation to his strength or limit breaker, right? In some ways, that's what Saitama from One Punch Man parodies. And, we'll get into the nitty gritty of this when the two monsters face off, and then we go over feats and whether or not this would work or what have you. But honest to Godzilla here, guys, I mean, these are fictional characters. Whatever the writer wants them to do, they will be. We all know that. We know, we get it, but the whole point is to have fun, and usually the best way to do that is just agree on some basics. Like, okay, we have to look at, what these characters do, what they can achieve, and usually something like this person has infinite levels of strength, or the potential of their power exceeds infinity. Like, that's like a no limits fallacy. That kind of thing is something that I personally don't really subscribe to. I don't use that in my analysis. I'll bring it up if I feel like it has like contextual understanding or some merit to the overall story. But generally speaking, I try not to like get into the whole hyperbole side of things. Like, this could be a hyperbolic statement here, this is something a writer or whatever has stated that blatantly is contradicted in the same comic, or a couple years later, because it's comics. We're talking about characters who've been around for several decades. Obviously, there are going to be massive contradictions, changes, retcons, what have you.
They hate each other.
Mostly. Occasionally, they can come to an understanding. The alter best representing this would be the Professor Hulk, a balanced blend of Banner's brain and the Hulk's brawn.
What do you mean Hulk and Bruce Banner hate each other? For a second there, I thought they were kind of like a making fun of fandoms. You know, even within the Godzilla fandom, you have Godzilla fans who hate each other. I kid. Or not.
Nerd you'll ever meet. But what about when Bruce takes a step
Hulk's
back?
workout.
If he isn't trying to restrain the Hulk, what do you get?
The Green Scar.
The World Breaker!
Without Bruce's temperament, the Hulk's power and fury surges, mixing Savage's rising strength with the personality and cunning of a warlord. The Green
This by the way, this is from Planet Hulk. It's a pretty good animated movie. You should check it out if you're a Hulk fan, Godzilla fan. It's pretty good.
Scar is no mere superhero. He's a king and a conqueror.
Hulk is strong enough to lift 150 billion tons of rock, jump from New Mexico to Florida in a single bound, and shake all the dimensions connected by the crossroads at once.
Okay. I can't help it. I gotta stop for a second. All right. Okay, shaking, what's it say here? The concussive force of their coming together reverberates along the pathways leading from the crossroads to an infinite number of dimensions, shaking, you know, I'm not reading here, but to my understanding, this is like essentially shaking an entire universe or whatever. But despite all that, and here's the thing about power scalers, guys, here's the thing about any of this. Everybody's all about like scaling up maximum, right? Best of the best. And I love high-end feats. I love taking what a character does and highlighting that. It's pretty great. But at the same time, there's a dark reflection. Just like the Hulk represents Bruce Banner's rage, or I don't know, you know, when you look at compound interest, there's this thing called inflation. There's like a dark twin, right? Same thing applies to power scaling. Reverse scaling, we can call it. Now, one thing I'd like to point out, Hulk is unleashing a massive, like, infinite dimension shaking shockwave here. Notice how those characters next to him, did they survive? Were they obliterated? Are we going to suddenly grant that these characters' durability is, like, universal? Like, these guys could, like, stand in front of a big bang and, you know, be completely fine? I'm just pointing out the fact that the Hulk himself is at ground zero of this, and he's been knocked out by considerably less attacks. But again, you could call that a nitpick, but to me, this is just kind of like my approach.
He was pinned down by the spear of Proxima Midnight, which holds the weight of a star, and was fine. And when we say World Breaker, we mean it. While sparring with Red She-Hulk, the two of them shattered a whole planet.
At one point, he
Christopher Zeta, I think that last part there just answered your question. Didn't Hulk move a planet? I mean, he can, but he casually shatters them. So, I mean, as aptly demonstrated. Now, that's a little bit closer to consistency. I mean, the Hulk has consistently performed feats of strength that are in that ballpark. So that, to me, is easily acceptable. It's when he suddenly starts, like, shattering the universe or something is when I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna raise the Kaijutopia eyebrow here and be like, sure, buddy. Okay. Sean, oh no, trust me, Hulk and Bruce hate each other. Oh yeah, I'm well aware.
was bound in chains forged from the essence of the first firmament, the manifestation of the first universe, which could bind eternity itself. Not even Galactus was capable of saving eternity alone, and the Hulk just broke it by himself.
Maybe Thor should...
Yeah, so this comes from the current Hulk run. What we just saw was a glimpse into the madness, the fearsome power of the Fractured Sun Hulk. And man, Fractured Sun Hulk is intense. He's arguably the strongest Hulk version yet, and that includes one that I think they'll bring up here soon enough, but long story short, eventually there's this alternate reality version of the Hulk called Breaker of Worlds Hulk, where he is possessed by the one below all. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, so I will keep playing this awesome video here, and then I'll add my 2 cents.
calling himself the strongest Avenger, especially since the Avengers first assembled because none of them could take down Hulk on their own.
Speaking of Thor, the Hulk consistently battles on par with him, even when he held the Odin Force, with which he could command his hammer through infinite distances and match the power of Null, who killed countless Celestials. Even without it, Mjolnir can cross the universe in seconds.
Hulk tore a universe apart with just a clap. Good luck with that.
Okay, well, there's that universe clapping feat right there. And of course, Hulk versus Thor, legendary matchup. I mean, if you're a Godzilla fan, it's kind of like Godzilla versus Gamera, Godzilla versus Ultraman, or like Godzilla, more closer to home of what we actually get, you know, beyond just matches that fans would love to see. It's kind of like Godzilla versus Kong. It's only it being Marvel, and Marvel owns, you know, the rights to use both characters. Thor, Hulk fight rather regularly. I mean, we've seen these guys come to blows like every 2-3 years, give or take. They're usually, you know, super exciting. Again, remember, writers, they don't really care about power levels. They don't really care about all that, and with good reason. They're hired to tell a story, and that should be their main focus. With that said, most writers understand, you know, these are two of Marvel's strongest, most powerful, and or recognized superheroes. So of course they're gonna have them typically tear shit up.
But the green guy's got way more going on than just brute strength.
As the Hulk's power stems from gamma, he can utilize and absorb it and other radiation in various ways.
Yeah, like...
Alright, so let's read a couple stuff here. For feats wise, they're like battled on par with Odin Force Thor. Generally speaking, Hulk was nowhere near this. I mean, aside from the whole universe shattering clap or shaking infinite dimensions stuff, understand again, Hulk rarely, that to me would be an outlier. These feats are generally inconsistent. They don't really factor in much with how Hulk generally fights or the sort of levels of strength, power that he has demonstrated. But then, you know, as of late, he's absolutely, like, maybe I wouldn't say he's at that point, but is he capable of fighting on par with Odin Force Thor? Absolutely. And bear in mind, Odin Force Thor kind of varies as well. I mean, I forget, there was a Mighty Thor run, early 2000s, early 2010s, where Thor, you know, came to be the wielder of the Odin Force, but he didn't really do anything that's like Odin level. I mean, Odin is an insanely powerful, like, cosmic tier being. So wielding his power and doing so efficiently are clearly two different things. But yeah, I would agree with that part. Hulk breaking the first firmament chains, you know, that's pretty dang impressive. And there's a good reason why he's capable of doing that. There's you know, the Al Ewing Immortal Hulk run pretty much added a whole new mythological staple to Hulk's story, and it's really quite impressive. And yeah, so overpowered the one below all. That part I would challenge, because it's less about Hulk. I mean, technically yes, but then again, when you realize who the one below all really is and what they want the Hulk to essentially do, or what he's meant to serve as, it really kind of calls into question whether Hulk really did it, or did the one below all just let him do it. I mean, I'll let you guys decide. Yeah, shook all dimensions tied to the crossroads, yada yada, yet somehow all those other characters seem to be fine at being at ground zero. So again, defeated Abomination, Gladiator, Hercules, Juggernaut, Sentry, Thing, the Avengers. This is all true, but at the same time, Hulk has also lost to a number of these characters as well. Hence why, again, if you're gonna really go down the whole power ranking, power scaling, two different things, I know, but if you're gonna assemble, you know, make a, you know, a ranking video of your strongest Marvel characters, but you're gonna use power scaling to do it, you should, if you are in the interest of fairness and not looking like a complete fanboy, you should, I don't know, not only consider the high-end feats, but also the low-end feats. What have characters done that's also a low showing, something that they did that wasn't too impressive? These are things, the goal is to get towards building a consistent argument is basically the goal here.
Regenerating from fatal wounds, even getting ripped apart by Wolverine barely slows him down.
And the angrier he gets, the more regenerating cells his body produces.
It gets weirder. Did you know that if he absorbs enough gamma, he can shoot lasers from his eyes and read people?
Okay, man, the Donny Cates Hulk run was short, but I loved it and wish, what happened to Donny Cates, by the way, was, tragic. I'm glad that he's getting better, but man, what we did get was quite a treat.
Minds? Oh, also, he can see ghosts and give him a good old-fashioned Hulk smash.
Hulk can break through the boundaries of comic book borders themselves into the empty white between panels, a gutter space beyond time and concept.
Okay, hold on. This is something that is so crazy. This is almost, not really, but that's the equivalent to, it's kind of like what Bugs Bunny and the other Looney Tune characters were able to do, where they would actually fight the animators. That's just insane. Alright, I'm going to read some comments here. Sean says, well, anytime Hulk is knocked out, it's usually by a character who is stronger than him at the beginning of a fight. As the fight goes on, it's not only his strength that increases, it's also his durability. That's all true. I agree. King Nick, welcome. Good to have you here. That's the thing Marvel DC don't care about, power scaling, when Enigma, who is a threat to the one above all. Yes, Enigma, this character was built up to be the new biggest threat to the Marvel multiverse hierarchy, and it kind of ended on a whimper. But then again, Marvel, DC, they don't care about power scaling. That's true, and also something that power scalers should, just for, I'd say, humility. I love these sort of discussions, guys. I practice what I preach. I humble myself by reminding myself that these are made-up characters. The creators, they don't care about this sort of stuff. So please bear in mind that when you base your entire, power scaling, it's a very important tool. Treat it like the utility it is, but it should not be the core of your argument. It should not be the key to your analysis, because if it is, then that means the key to your entire position here is based on something that the very makers of the thing that you're studying, analyzing, do not give a shit about. Sean says, this is why characters like Thanos are able to beat Hulk, because he is stronger and was able to beat Hulk quickly before the battle could drag on. Well, that and the fact that Thanos is just power wanked beyond the point of no return. Granted, Fractured Sun Hulk was able to beat him not too long ago. Seemed to be fair and square, which is nice. It's good to see Hulk come out on top, especially against Thanos. But Thanos is just guy is somewhere between Silver Surfer, Heralds of Galactus level to Odin. Thanos has stood up against the likes of Galactus and lived. And of course, with his scheming, the dude can go from being a universal threat to threatening the entire Marvel experience. So, yada yada. King Nick says, the one below all, I think that's what you're saying, right? The one below all is an adaptation of the one above all. In other words, an enraged version of... Yeah, this is true. As I think these guys are going to get to here. So I'm going to keep playing the video, and then we can talk about that.
What? Like how She-Hulk can for some reason break the fourth wall and talk to the reader? Oh, wait, that makes sense now. It's all gamma!
Exactly. In real life, gamma rays are electromagnetic radiation similar to X-rays.
But in Marvel Comics, gamma comes from hell!
On Earth 616, gamma radiation is an electromagnetic frequency that can manifest as either a wave, a particle, or something else. Something that nobody really understands.
Except for Bruce!
That's right. Dr. Banner is a certified genius with 7 PhDs. According to Norman Osborn, he's the 4th smartest person on the planet.
And that's comparing him to big brains like Reed, Doom, and Tony.
Banner built the Her Collider.
I just gotta say, one of the funniest things whenever it comes to, these super intelligent characters, just remember they're written by, I'm not to insult these people, but it's kind of like how, we talk and we'll get to Godzilla and all the people who've, written really crazy things that are completely antithetical to science, to physics. I mean, basically it's Hollywood, what Hollywood thinks science is. Just remember, like, what we might think these characters are super smart and intelligent, and very rarely do writers unfortunately do their homework in that. Again, I admit that's kind of such a dumb nitpick on my part, but just harping away at that.
A machine that can scan the entire multiverse with the speed of a hypermind. He created the Gamma Core, which could rupture space-time between universes. He built an interstellar radio on a deserted planet without any pre-established technology. He wired up Hulk like a starship, piloting him from the mindscape within. He even built an ultimate nullifier. In fact, the original intent of his Gamma Bomb was to be non-lethal, only targeting inorganic material.
But Thunderbolt Ross wanted something with a bit more boom. Hey, can't blame him.
Fearing its ramifications, Banner developed the Gamma Bomb on his own, keeping its design secret. In the process, he tapped into an unknown form of gamma energy that breaks down reality and mutates it beyond actuality. On that fateful day, he opened the Green Door.
Oh man, we're gonna get to it here. Yeah, absolutely agree though. Sometimes I feel like the not the power ranking, but I guess the intelligence ranking of Marvel's, smartest characters, it's usually like the top 2 rarely change, Reed Richards, Doctor Doom, and then you have like the likes of Blue Marvel in there, and then you have like Riri, and then you have other characters. Oh man, what was her name? This one girl from Devil Dinosaur. Okay, you guys can help me out with that one. The IQ, listing typically changes though after a while, but no doubt Bruce Banner is absolutely one of the smartest characters on Marvel Earth by far, and deserves way more respect than he usually does. And Sean says, yep, Thanos is extremely overpowered. He'd beat most of the Avengers and Galactus. And in the future, he has Hulk, the effing Hulk, as a pet. Ah, yes. The Donny Cates King Thanos run. Yes. That one is... I love that story, but when it comes to, again, power analytics, man, that series is nuts. It's a minefield. There's so many moments where you're like, Thanos is the strongest there is to, wait, how did he do that? Moon Girl! Justilla, thank you! Oh, you came through. Yes, Moon Girl. She is, I mean, arguably, I think she would be top 3, top 2 even. I mean, Doctor Doom respects her, and that says a lot right there. And of course, Reed Richards' own daughter, Valeria Richards, she's extremely smart, up there by Doom, mentored by Doctor Doom, I should also say.
Said the bomb killed Bruce? That wasn't some flowery metaphor or whatever. He died and came back as Hulk.
Came back from the below place, the hell beneath hell, the lowest possible dimension of reality.
It's trippy, but whenever Hulk dies, he goes there. Then a green door opens and he goes back to where he was before. Easy as that. It doesn't matter if he's been atomized, sliced up into jars, or digested by werewolves. If he goes through the door, he's back, ready to rumble.
Interestingly enough, and I don't think these guys cover it, but due to Godzilla's Marvel crossovers, not even the current one, which, we'll get to, but also the one from the 1970s, Godzilla, according to Marvel, is technically classified as a gamma mutation. So, technically, you could say Godzilla 2 has a connection to the Green Door, to the one below all, but That might be stretching it for some folks because, again, that sort of thing. This is core to the Hulk's mythology, whereas, Godzilla is technically just a visitor. He's just visiting for a good old rumble, good crossover battle royale kind of event. But just thought we should put that out there. Sonic Dude says, we all agree that the verdict was right? Oh, man. Uh-oh. I'll share my thoughts about it when we get there.
Green Door did get locked into a red door, but he's easily broken through it multiple times. Not a problem.
It turns out that third form of Gamma, this anomaly from the bedrock of hell, spawns from none other than the one below all. The dark side of the one above all.
That's right, God has a Hulk, and it wants Bruce to bring about the end of all things. But Hulk...
Alright. This is such a huge... I say recent, it's been several years now, but it feels recent. This is such a big development for the Hulk as a character. The Hulk is described by the one above all himself, basically Marvel God, not to be confused with Marvel Jesus Deadpool himself, but the one above all proclaimed the Hulk as being his child. The Hulk is the embodiment of the one above all's righteous fury or the one below all's just malignant rage. This is massive. It also ties into philosophy and such. I've done a Godzilla Hulk video in the past where I went through who I think would win. And I gotta say, the main thing that I don't agree with, just for I guess for just technical reasons when it comes with Death Battle, is that I don't like making composites of these characters and having them duke it out, because very rarely do they go over they go over composite strengths, but what about composite weaknesses? And the fact that, I don't know, what do we mean by composite? Are we trying to multiply these characters, what strengths they have, or are we just taking the best of the best and essentially creating a new character? But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But I just want to say that I do love what Al Ewing did with the Hulk here. And just a comment, because I've seen this in previous videos by other people who made similar comments here, but there are some people that don't think that the Breaker of Worlds Hulk, essentially in an alternate future, the one below all possessed the Hulk and turned him essentially into that universe's new Galactus, who then proceeded to destroy it. There are some people who don't like to accept that as being a version of the Hulk because he's possessed. So therefore it's not really the Hulk. But then I would, these same people seem to accept the fact that GMK Godzilla is a Godzilla, even though that Godzilla is possessed by World War II spirits. So, which is it? This sort of thing is where this sort of thing just seems to be like one of those, are you just saying this because you don't like the fact that this version of Hulk would absolutely demolish your favorite Godzilla? I gotta say it because that comes to mind. But just for the sake of arguing in good faith, I do feel like that is a massive contradiction, where Godzilla fans especially, seem to want to cherry pick, but other than that, I do accept it as a version of the Hulk, and even if we decided not to for the sake of these battles, Hulk at the end of the Immortal Hulk run and now current Hulk, Fractured Sun Hulk, is still every bit as threatening and dangerous as the Breaker of Worlds one below all possessed Hulk. I know that's a mouthful. I'm going to drink some water. We're going to keep playing.
Just said, nah.
So, what is the Hulk? An uncontrollable monster? A prison for a tortured soul? A super weapon for Armageddon?
Don't overthink it, Wiz. Hulk is Hulk, and Hulk's the strongest one there is.
Man, I gotta say though, real quick, props to these guys, props to the editors and the animators. I've been, just talking like a power ranking fanboy here, just, sharing my thoughts, nitpicking, of course. It's the internet. It's got to be that way, right? But like, just take a moment and just admire the aesthetics. Just the fact that these guys have been able to build an entire business, an entire like series that has top tier animation. I mean, I really enjoy whoever the editor or editors are. Animators deserve praise. They are incredible. And I have a sneaking suspicion all of you watching are already subscribed to Death Battle. If you haven't subscribed to them yet, please support them. Obviously, they're like an infinitely larger channel than mine, but I do feel the need that since I'm reacting to their stuff here, I give them props. Like, they deserve it. All the respect in the world for this. Justzilla says, in my opinion, I don't really take these death battles that seriously. It's all fan fiction. The animation is what I really liked, and this animation was amazing. You know what? I kind of feel like this is the comment of the day. This is something that we all really need to remind ourselves of, so we don't let our inner douchebags take over. If you understand where I'm coming from. Yes, it's made up. It's not something we should be, you know, take personally. I'm for taking these things seriously. I would be a complete grifter if I told you guys don't take this stuff seriously. Says the guy that runs a Godzilla channel with dozens of videos where he's clearly taking this seriously. Just don't take it personally. Like, drop the personal attacks. Stop trying to treat each other like, you know, you're lesser than thou if you don't share my opinion on these fantasy characters. So yeah, Justzilla, congratulations. I feel like you are in the right I'd say you're in the right place. That is what we should all aspire to be, or at least return to after we've had our, you know, our fun. Speaking of fun, he's coming. The king.
The year was 1946. The press gathered at Bikini Atoll to witness the power of the nuclear bomb. But many leagues beneath their feet, something ancient stirred.
Godzilla, the king of the monsters. He was pretty pissed off over the worst wake-up ever, so he swam to Japan for one hell of a crash out.
Japan was still recovering from the war, so seeing this mutilated radioactive monster towering high like a mushroom cloud wasn't just frightening, it seemed...
I'm a simple man. I see Godzilla. I pray. I'm just so happy to see my boy. Look at him. Oh, excuse me, I need to lie down. I just love Godzilla so much.
Prophetic. The bomb was just the beginning. Man had sparked the end of times.
Complete with googly eyes and the most epic roar ever.
Over the years, there have been many iterations of the beast.
Between movies, TV, comics, and cartoons, there's at least 27 different Godzillas stomping around, not including Manila, the Scrappy-Doo of kaiju. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna like just intervene here and just say, guys, Manila deserves way more respect. I know that's like sacrilege. Many of you are going to unsubscribe. You're going to write nasty letters. But man, Manila, come on. Come on. Our boy, he's part of the Godzilla series. He has earned his place. With that said, there are way better versions of the Son of Godzilla, and we must never repeat the Manila mistake ever again.
That's insulting to Scrappy-Doo.
Despite the variety, Godzilla is somewhat consistent, so we'll examine his entire history, focusing on the larger releases. In most iterations...
Okay. Evolutions. We go from burning, critical mass, evolve, nightmare option. Ooh, nightmare. Interesting. Rage, shin form, super, ultimate mode, Santa Claus. No, really. Yeah. Yeah, that happened. And of course, President of the USA and Looney Tunes. This is going to be one hoot of a video, guys. Whew. Just read some stuff here real quick because I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. If you're watching, but you know, you're worried about maybe making a comment, I don't bite. Generally speaking, if you say something that I disagree with, I promise I'm going to read it and in good faith and even steelman it, just to show you that I get your position. So don't feel shy, but thanks for being here nonetheless. Sean says Godzilla vs. Hulk and Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe issue 4 better be Godzilla and Hulk fighting for half the comic. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be just that, Sean, but I hear ya. We really need these two to throw down. And it's kind of funny. I mean, you know, Death Battle, these guys were just laughing about the fact that Godzilla vs. Hulk is going to actually happen within the you know, the next few months for like officially, and you know, I promise you these guys don't care about whether or not that like challenges their verdict. These guys are going to be happy because it's going to make their algorithm shoot up. It's going to light up. Justilla says, yeah, it's fun to debate these things. Some just take it too far for a lot, you know, a lot of the time. Yeah, that's true. And we got to remind ourselves not to take it too far, because once we do that, you actually, again, guys, even if you disagree of, you know, the things that I've said in the past, you got to realize what's your motivation. Are you trying to change someone's mind? You're not going to change their mind by acting like a hyper compulsive freak. You're not going to change your mind by acting like a jerk or calling people names, okay? I've been there, done that. I've done that stupid stuff. Every now and then I say things that I regret, and I try to apologize for it. But just, come on. We're all human. We're all on the same side here.
Godzilla is a rare theropod that went dormant for millions of years before nuclear bombs mutated it into a gargantuan radioactive monster.
Standing 165 feet tall, at minimum, Koji smashes through skyscrapers with ease. He's so casual.
Just so we're clear, to any Godzilla fans who might get a little picky about the fact that Death Battle is talking about 165 feet at minimum, Godzilla's size does not matter in this matchup. It does not matter. I want you to take a moment and think about why. Why am I saying that? I'm going to let you guys think about it and share your thoughts.
Bullets and rockets, they might as well be gnats. And the bombs did so much more than just pump up his size. He's got atomic breath.
A concentrated beam or spray of radioactive heat. With an estimated range of 1,100 miles, it
1,100 miles. So when I originally, when I was going over this earlier today, just to get prepped, I was like, wait, what's this from? I mean, was it Godzilla Final Wars when he shot Kaiser Ghidorah into the stratosphere? That's more like, that's like several to 20 or so miles. I mean, that's not really. But then I remembered, yeah, my favorite, the best live action Godzilla power feat, when legendary Godzilla did the Hollow Earth Driller. Yeah, you guys remember that? It's, by the way, the 1,100 mile figure they just did, that's like a bare minimum. That's being very kind. It's likely twice that, if we're being fair.
Can exceed 500,000 degrees Celsius, almost 90 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
But depending on how much radiation he's absorbed, or...
Man, that's almost as hot as my Godzilla toy collection. Oh, so much money. Gone, never to return. Oh, the pain. The pain. Okay, continue.
Life energy from a giant pterodactyl, he can do way more with it.
His red spiral ray is a supercharged version that doubles in heat and power, and spins.
Or he can blast it out of his back and fly. Well, he could always do that, I guess. Look at him go.
With enough energy built up, Godzilla can blast a nuclear pulse out of his whole body, creating a massive wave of atomic destruction.
His breathing...
Okay, so I'm kind of shocked they didn't even bring up the Earth Driller bit. You know, that's kind of a pretty dang impressive feat, if you ask me. Or blasting Kaiser Ghidorah into the stratosphere. I mean, don't get me wrong, Heisei Godzilla, he's a powerhouse. I love him. I acknowledge all that. And yeah, sure, according to the source material, his heat ray ranges from being like several 100,000 degrees to millions of degrees Celsius. Okay, we could all nitpick that maybe and be like, we don't actually seriously see that happen like at all. And, here's my exhibit A, B, C of all the times his heat beam hit something that didn't actually do damage or much damage. I say nitpick with good reason, because again, filmmakers, they don't care about this sort of stuff. They had no idea a bunch of nerds on the internet like yours truly would take this stuff so seriously. But I'm still surprised they didn't bring that up. Maybe they will, but interesting. Or any of Godzilla's more, he has some impressive feats, not only in the movies, like live action, but Godzilla Earth closed singularities with his atomic beam. So that's something that I hope they bring up.
Can even break through dimensions, like when he found himself face to face with a giant mech piloted by...
Okay, you guys help me out here, because when I looked into Snow Godzilla, there's no proof that his heat ray is how he traveled dimensions. Where did that come from? Do you guys know? Because from what I gather, Godzilla doesn't really control that. He does come from a different dimension, but he has no control whatsoever. So I don't know why they would bring that up.
Hatsune Miku?
There's also a number of era-exclusive powers. Shin Godzilla can fire rays from his tail.
And Hanna-Barbera Godzilla can fire rays from his eyes. Pew, pew.
Effectively a living nuclear reactor, Shin possesses a natural phased array radar that can detect and attack threats automatically. And Godzilla Earth, who grew over 1,000 feet tall across 2,000 years, could make a barrier only penetrable by kaiju that can bypass physics.
And don't forget, Big G can ball with the best of them. After Charles...
Guys, Godzilla fans, if you really truly wanted to win every debate, you need to bring up the fact that Godzilla held his own in a basketball match against Charles Barkley.
Got him his own pair of Nikes, Godzilla got busy.
It's kind of hard to emphasize just how impressively terrifying Godzilla can be when you're bringing up this sort of thing.
Oh yeah? Why don't you find a better spokesperson for Dr. Pepper? Fine, let's talk about when his presence...
Let's be honest, the fact that Godzilla could drink Dr. Pepper and live should prove that he's the most durable character ever. Dr. Pepper fans, don't hate me. I kid. No, I'm serious.
Boiled the entire Arctic Ocean, or how he picked up and threw Biolante, which weighed 200,000 tons, or when he no-sold not one, not two, but 3 meteors,
Including...
Yeah, I mean, the Godzilla lifting the Biolante thing actually has been done twice in comics. The first was that manga shot they just shared, and another we saw happen in Godzilla Monsters and Protectors, where he just not only lifted Biolante up, but swung her around and chucked her, similarly to what Godzilla did to Kumonga in Godzilla Final Wars.
Permian period extinction event that happened about 200 million years ago.
Then he went to hell, fought some fucked up versions of God and Satan, and atomic breath at Space Godzilla so hard that he blew up the whole planet. That's scary.
Oh, man. Godzilla in Hell has finally been invoked. That's gonna be interesting. I'll just point out that Godzilla didn't blow up the Earth with his own power. It was really Godzilla and Space Godzilla having a good old-fashioned kaiju beam war that triggered the event in question. I will just say, though, that it's heavily implied that Godzilla could have done that too. But, we'll get there.
For you? God, I want a Dr. Pepper.
With such awesome might, he's battled the most dangerous of foes, like King Ghidorah and Gigan. In Godzilla vs. Megalon, Gigan flew from the M Hunter Nebula to Earth in 24 seconds, and that nebula is 30,000 light years away.
But...
So here's a little note here that says Godzilla has fought Space Godzilla multiple times, who flew from a black hole to Earth in a short span of time. Yeah, it's definitely implied that Space Godzilla's travel speed through, the void of space he's ludicrously fast. I mean, Mogera, it could go like Mach 44 in space as well or something. But, again, Space Godzilla, black hole origin story, silly, but canon. It's part of his character. But when it comes to, power feats, I definitely call a lot of it into question just based on the fact that a number of things that we can definitively say that are nowhere near being like as existential, crippling, as destructive as a black hole still ended up hurting Space Godzilla. So as far I do want to say, because he brought up Gigan here, I kind of feel like this is an example of someone potentially looking at a movie and not realizing there's time that's implied to have passed between scenes. So even if a character's, they're on the phone and they're like, I need Gigan, and then, it cuts to Gigan. Gigan is being sent. We're sending Gigan now. And then, another cutaway and Gigan is in space. There's time that happens, but let's just say that's all true. Gigan has like light speed or near light speed when he travels through space. There's a difference between a character being able to move at a certain speed to having combat reaction time or combat levels of speed like that. The Flash, DC's Scarlet Speedster, he can run faster than light and such. He can also fight faster than light. He can strike you with like millions of punches in like a tiny little small fraction of a second. Like, so what I mean to say is they're probably trying to suggest that due to the fact that Gigan has light speed and Godzilla can react to him, therefore Godzilla has light speed reaction time or faster than light reaction time, which it depends on the Godzilla, but they're citing Showa Gigan, and no, sorry, Godzilla has been hit by all manner of rockets, bullets, none of which is near light speed. I mean, we've seen him literally try to dodge missiles and they still hit on. It's just, no, please don't.
The OG Goji got done in by the cruelest weapon ever.
The Oxygen Destroyer. Developed in secret by Dr. Serizawa, this weapon could suffocate and liquefy molecules.
Actually, worse than that, it liquefied atoms. It's a extremely dangerous weapon, and it poses a threat to pretty much every kaiju ever made, with maybe some exceptions. By the way, don't confuse the OG OD with the one that we saw get shoehorned into Godzilla King of the Monsters. I love that movie, but when it brought in the Oxygen Destroyer, it was very this weapon, this version of the OD is not nowhere near as potent as the original. I mean, it's just like we basically we all agree they're not all Godzillas are equal, right? We can all agree with that. Thank you. So the same thing can apply to weapons, to different, fictional super weapons. Not all Oxygen Destroyers are the same. And, eventually I guess we'll get to the Godzilla Singular Point, which has a variant of the Oxygen Destroyer called the Orthogonal Diagonalizer. It's a mouthful, and when you say it, rumor has it that Godzilla Ultima himself is going to stomp on your house.
To weapon were so detrimental, Serizawa took the secrets of its design to his early grave.
He got lucky. It doesn't matter what you throw at Godzilla. He never really dies. You can blow off his head, explode him from the inside, or crush him in a black hole. Then he'll come back.
Or evolve.
Oh boy, the black hole thing. Oh man. Okay, so the more super strict version of me, when it comes to Godzilla X Megaguirus, when they fire a black hole, is the fact that I like to say, look, it doesn't function like an actual black hole. I treat it more like a wormhole, but they call it a black hole, and there it is. And even though I don't count it as a power feat for Godzilla when he temporarily pushed it back with his heat beam, because that's an outlier. His beam never really did anything even close to that. The fact that he survived having that being dropped on him while, you know, parts of the city were absolutely destroyed, to me is a pretty dang good durability feat.
To an even more powerful form. Godzilla's always possessed heightened adaptation, but many iterations clearly showcase instantaneous evolution.
And super force!
Oh, there he is, the nightmare option Godzilla. I did a Godzilla power ranking stream like not too long ago, and I wish I included this guy. He is awesome.
He's gone full shonen and powered up a few times. So much so, he almost kicked off a nuclear winter just by existing.
Even
Seriously, we need to get a Super Godzilla like comic book already. I'm not kidding. My friend Matt Frank, you know, months back did a really good April Fool's joke using Super Godzilla, and when I saw that, I'm just like, are there any plans of making this, you know, a thing? Because it really should be. So let's hope something like that happens.
the Oxygen Destroyer could not permanently end the first Godzilla. His ghost possessed a robot, his bones summoned another Godzilla, and he rose as an undead revenant hell-bent on destroying Japan.
Okay, why Japan? Couldn't he pick on some other country?
He stopped
Justzilla Nightmare Goji, the Nightmare option, is like this manga, or more accurately, I believe it's like a short story that's part of a compilation of other stories. And yeah, so Nightmare Goji is a beast. He's pretty up there. Pretty interesting story. If you look around online, you can find it online. I think there are some people who've actually provided English translated versions too, so happy hunting.
to the Americas a few times, but it just isn't the same. Godzilla is intrinsically linked with Japan.
Oh, best scene. One of my favorite scenes right here. You guys see the same thing, right? Godzilla versus Biollante. All the kids. Okay, kids, what show us what you've been dreaming about. Godzilla. Oh. When I saw this as a kid, I literally got up and I clapped. I was just you know, I don't know if I was crying, but like I might as well, because it's awesome.
A symbol of both their devastation and resilience. A reminder of the threat of nuclear war and what awaits those who peer too deeply into the unknown. But also, Japan's in Godzilla's perceived territory. To him, a stomping through Osaka is just another patrol.
He's not always so bad, though. He can be super protective, defending other monsters, his own kid, and sometimes even people.
Alright, let's take a look at this real quick. Feats. Annihilated Earth with Space Godzilla. Okay, you know, I accept that. This is from Godzilla in Hell issue 3. And yes, the two had a beam war, and generally it's funny because you would think that, you know, a beam war should be kind of like the... It shouldn't multiply the power threshold of the two beams in question, but this actually happens far more than you think in kaiju films, where the resulting beam explosion is way greater than the power of either beam should be, even if you were to combine them. It kind of creates like a chain reaction of sorts. So yeah, that checks out. Consistently matches Gigan's speed. Again, there's a difference between combat speed and flight speed. Godzilla has been... Even Gigan himself got hit by rockets, tanks. If his reaction fighting speed is on par with his near light speed through space, he would have been a complete blur. No one should have ever scored a hit on him. Destroys universes via singular points. I'm surprised they didn't get too much into the weeds on this one. Godzilla singular point. It's an anime that, you know, you either love it or hate it, or maybe in truth you're just confused by it and you love it and hate it for that very reason. It's a very deeply confusing show. Up from the Depths recently, they even today posted an amazing video where they break down the entire series. I love the title. He mentions something along the lines of like, you know, the Godzilla series, you need a PhD to watch. Yeah, absolutely. Sean says, I've seen people try to downplay Burning Godzilla, saying that he's actually weaker than normal Godzilla because he's dying. What are your thoughts on that? Sean, I could share that a bit more in detail later because, I mean, there's kind of certain specifics because I'm somewhere in the middle there. I think for the most part, his red beam for most of the film is weaker than his spiral blast from previous films, and even on par with his regular beam, depending. It's all about whether or not that spiral is there or not. And because he's dying, his regeneration is in overdrive, so you know it's taxing the body. He's under a lot of pressure, let's just say. So I kind of feel like yes and no, but perhaps at a later time I can go a bit more into detail with that with you, and then you can tell me what you think as well. And Justilla says, yeah, this scene was awesome. Yep.
I'd say there's two types of Godzillas: the monster of nature's wrath and the guardian of planet Earth.
Well, there is a third type, but to understand that, we should first answer a question. How does Godzilla walk?
On two legs, Wiz, obviously.
But according to Square Cube law, those legs should be crushed under his own weight.
Oh god, here we go again.
A creature like Godzilla cannot realistically exist. This proved to be an elusive question for decades, even highlighted in Shin Godzilla, until a new theory was presented in the anime Singular Point.
Oh, there they go. Well, all right, cool. Again, credit to these guys. That was genuinely funny.
Godzilla can't exist in our reality. What if he's from a different one?
What? Like he's an alien from another dimension?
Exactly. What if all kaiju come from a higher plane of existence with no regard for the known laws of physics? This dimension enters our reality in the form of archetype, a transtemporal conceptual particle.
It's that red dust that's floating all over the place.
This archetype can enter any timeline to terraform the Earth and all of reality so that kaiju can exist. This
Pretty accurate. They did their homework here. I would just add, archetype basically makes it possible for beings like Godzilla to rewrite the laws of physics of whatever universe he's invading in order to change it into something more to his liking. It's why eventually later we see they have readings about temporal anomalies. He's able to change form and get bigger, stronger throughout the series. It's all due to archetype, red dust, which lets him essentially introduce what our primitive minds might see as being magic or something.
Theoretically explains why various Godzillas appear in so many universes. They all trace back to one singular point: Godzilla.
That's a very interesting position. I think I've read somewhere I think this may have been implied either in Godzilla Singular Point or in some Godzilla IDW comics. I haven't been able to find anything that definitively either states or implies that in a way that I think, okay, using inference, we can infer that this is, kind of what they're getting at, as opposed to something that's more open-ended. So if you're watching this and you know exactly what these guys are talking about, and you could be like, Tom, no, believe me, they're onto something. That's great, but to me, my takeaway is that the Godzilla Singular Point ending credits, which are amazing, by the way, are just, fan service, not really something that suggests some multiversal shenanigans. If I'm wrong, please explain why.
Godzilla Ultima.
Sporting the wide grin of a demonic Oni, Ultima is vicious. Just walking through Tokyo started 1,000 earthquakes around Japan. Even his own blood is a weapon.
Over 300 feet tall and growing ever more as...
Seriously, the fact that Ultima's blood is a weapon is insane. Justella says Salunga was aura farming in those final episodes. My friend, I've been aura farming for this entire stream. But I pale in comparison to Sarunga. Like, I wish I was on that level. Let's see. Relicath, Singular Point, and IDW are the only two versions of Godzilla I can think of that have been confirmed to exist in a higher form outside of Godzilla himself. I think you're correct. That would be Singular Point and Godzilla in Hell. Godzilla is implied to be, on just a higher level. More on those guys in due time.
Distorts the universe. Ultima's existence implies a far more complex origin for all Godzillas. Godzilla is a test for humanity, a challenge laid out by an eldritch entity from a dimension we are incapable of perceiving or comprehending.
Okay, so it just pretty much, once again, made the suggestion that, so many of these Godzillas from across different mediums are derived from the Godzilla Singular Point. Again, as of right now, I think it's more of a fan theory. I could be mistaken. It mentioned that, they kind of reference the original 1954 Godzilla. There's a difference between referencing it and that sharing continuity, or that somehow being connected to another continuity that is, as far as I'm concerned, not connected to Godzilla Singular Point. They just happen to have some similar compatible origins, but
It's kind of like how when we move an object and its shadow changes, we get why that happened. But to someone who exists in only a 2D plane, the shadow looks like it just randomly transformed into something totally different. Crazy to think about.
Oh yeah, it's cool headcanon and an explanation for his many crossover appearances. I personally like it. I think it's cool that all Godzillas in some way share some sort of connection across, all of Imaginarium, all across science fiction. That's super cool, and I would love to see. I kind of feel like a Godzilla anime series would be way more suited to the task of covering that, but in a way where it's sensible, in a way that's kind of like in a way that neither the Godzilla Earth trilogy nor Godzilla Singular Point did. I mean, you love them or you hate them. I'm not a fan of the Earth trilogy. Godzilla Singular Point I enjoy, but I admit it's really difficult to follow at times. But I do love the idea that there's some sort of all Godzilla connection, a Godzilla Beyond that's kind of at the heart of all of this. So that would be really cool.
But I've come a really long way from Big Lizard Smash Building, huh?
This shadow, this wannabe god, desires to play with and destroy every single universe.
And Godzilla is its avatar.
Through Ultima, this entity sees the universe as an interactive.
Alright, so the singularity cannot be destroyed. It is the, what's that say? The nature of space-time, so to speak. That it cannot be destroyed from within space-time. Oh, it's beyond space-time, I'm thinking is what they're trying to say. It is like a character in a movie trying to break the screen. The singularity is just a hole given from outside the screen. The characters in the film don't have a hand to play the role. Interesting. Okay.
Fiction and can control causality. Ultima himself is a singular point, one of many gateways through which the entity can tamper with reality.
Think of it this way. If something happens that the entity doesn't like, it can just say, that thing didn't actually happen, and presto, it no longer happened.
That's not to say such an event can't happen in the moment of occurrence, but the entity disconnects cause and effect and nullifies events in retrospect without regard for time.
And now my head hurts. TLDR.
Seriously, my head hurts too, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds great and fancy and extremely powerful, but it's kind of like what I've said in the past when it pertains to characters like Cthulhu. Cthulhu, he's beyond our comprehension. His power is beyond our understanding, our ability to know, and yet, Steamboat takes him out. Or as I like to say, yeah, sure, they may be beyond our comprehension, but they can also lose in ways beyond our comprehension too. Or maybe in ways that we personally think is quite ludicrous, or seriously, you're going to lose to that? I just gotta be like real with you guys at the times, like if that were the case, how did he lose? I mean, I know the show explains it and goes into a bit more detail about it, but I'm also kind of like, okay, so he could destroy universes allegedly or theoretically, and that's what apparently a singularity is capable of. It's like a universal shifting manifest or a calamity of some kind. But like, seriously, why did it take so long? Or why didn't it happen? That kind of thing.
Ultimate tried to bring about a catastrophe that would end the universe in like a week's time. So, a wacky robot and a time-traveling Alexa used a supercomputer and this familiar-looking doohickey,
The orthogonal diagonalizer.
to zap all of archetype into...
I love the fact that he just said it. He correctly said it. I'm wondering how many times did it take my man? How many takes? I don't think it's one. I think that took multiple takes. The orthogonal diagonalizer. Oh my god. Oh jeez. I'm sorry. I will never make that sound again.
It's for cutting off the entity's connection to the universe.
But not killing it. Because while each
Orthogonal diagonalizer. Blah blah blah.
Godzilla has its differences, one thing remains certain.
Godzilla is immortal, and that makes him the king.
Whew. So yeah, as far as Godzilla analysis videos go, I mean, that was pretty dang good. Again, massive praise to their animators, their editors, the people they have in the research department. They do their homework. You know, a couple things that I would say are just, you know, my caveats are less about whether or not I'm factually right and more about just my specific approach to these sort of things. Like, I'm not like gonna like for me, when I taught, like, I'll use the Gigan speed example once more. That to me, like, Gigan, he can go maybe light speed in space, but, you know, Godzilla can tag him. Therefore, Godzilla gets light speed. But then I'm also going to point out all the times he got hit by things that are nowhere near light speed. So why are we not factoring that in? I mean, that's basically my goal, is being consistent. Whereas Death Battle's goal seems to be just take all the great big high-end feats, whether they're outliers or consistent, it doesn't matter, and just merge it into an ultimate composite version of the character in question. There's nothing wrong with that. There's fundamentally nothing wrong with that, and I think it makes for really a great channel. It makes for a great video. We're about to watch what will likely be a freaking awesome fight. But yeah, so nitpicks aside, I gotta give him props for that, though. It really does look like these analysis videos were really well edited and put together.
Look at the skulls, gaze into their eyes. Now you are completely hypnotized.
I'm completely hypnotized.
You've fallen into my evil trap. I order you right now, go to deathbattle.gg.
Whiz, it didn't work. They're still here.
What? No, Boomstick, this is terrible. How can I get them to go to the Death Battle website?
Just tell them about all the cool Death Battle stuff they'll find, like a bunch of exclusive merch, every episode ever, even ones not on YouTube, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes goodies. So how about it, guys? Go to www.deathbattle.gg.
All right, you heard them. Don't make a liar out of Boomstick. Go to deathbattle.gg.
Seriously, support Death Battle.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a Death Battle!
Godzilla
Yeah, we're going with the Godzilla -1 design. Love it.
has reached the city. So far, the evacuation is... Wait, look!
Oh snap. be real with you guys. I could watch Hulk chuck cars at Godzilla's face all day. Whoa, that was such a cool shot. Oh, I love how we just follow Hulk as he's like parkouring up Godzilla's spines. That was so cool. Mothra be thy name. Holy shit.
Alright, Hulk. Time for me to take over. We don't want any trouble.
No! Hulk stays!
Oh. The monster. That is such a great shot. Oh, man. Oh, the animation. It's so good.
You think you're strong? I scan the world! Stay down!
Oh! He lost his head! He regenerated his head! I see what they did there. Nuclear pulse. Ooh, red spiral beam. And they all lived happily ever after. I kid. Oh! Oh! Wow! I'm sorry for breaking your ears. Wow! Wow, that is so cool! Oh, look at that! Oh, my boy! Oh,
Stupid lizard.
stupid lizard. Oh, I am getting goosebumps. Oh! Did Godzilla just win? Nope. Oh, man.
I think I understand.
Ultima. Oh. Oh. Oh, no.
It's been days since the battle began, and the red dust is spreading. Godzilla has grown in size, but we believe we are...
How does it work?
Well, smash. A million, trillion to one and rising. That's the odds. Chance to nullify the madness behind the monster. 2 + 2 is 5. A right angle is 80 degrees. This element is
Wow.
beyond what we can perceive. Like gamma. 1,000 times.
Hulk keeps
A
dying.
million. A trillion.
What is happening?
I just need one.
I feel like I needed a PhD to watch this death battle. Okay, how many of you are Helsing fans? Because this is giving me more Alucard vibes than Singular Point, but... Oh, but that looks so cool. Oh.
You did it, big guy. We did it.
Okay, run this by me. What happened?
It's complicated, so let's break this down into 3 categories. First up,
Okay. Wow. Oh, Jean, I have a pretty sneaking suspicion that Relicath is messing with you. His comment, my question becomes this: if the entity has been defeated in that way previously, regarding Godzilla's Singular Point, would it remember how it was defeated? Would it be prepared for something like that in another universe? See, that's the thing. I kind of feel like when it comes to something that exists outside, he may be outside our space-time, but what about his own personal timeline? This has been explored in other stories. I mean, I think Hickman did it for the for Secret Wars, for the Beyonders in Time Runs Out, where the Beyonders, despite being nigh omnipotent or whatever the hell that means, they are not beyond their own timeline. They still abide by it. So in a way, Godzilla can't manipulate his own timeline. Or something smart. Something that someone with a PhD in kaiju mechanics can tell you.
most versions of Godzilla can shrug off black holes and extinction level events.
Most versions of Godzilla cannot shrug off black holes. And extinction level events, yeah, I would call that into question. I would say objection, Your Honor. It says right here, I gotta get a little closer. Some Godzillas have defeated characters like Thor and Superman in comics, but these scenarios involve off-comic gags or Elseworld variants with unique circumstances and less power than their mainline counterparts. Okay, well, that kind of answers why we didn't see anything from the Godzilla Marvel one-shots or the Godzilla Justice League crossovers we've been getting. Wow. Okay, I kind of get why they would go down this path, and to an extent, I can relate, because not all Godzillas are equal. Not all alternate variants of whatever Godzilla or characters you can name are equal. So that makes sense to me. But at the same time, I mean, you had no trouble whatsoever going over the many different versions of Godzilla, like Godzilla 54 or Shin Godzilla, or, you know, GMK -1 Final Wars Heisei. They're all different versions of Godzilla too, yet you still went with it. And earlier, I'm a little confused. These guys suggested that Godzilla Singular Point is at the heart of the entire Godzilla multiverse. Like, they're all connected. If that's the case, then that should also involve these other variants, the Godzillas that fought Thor and Superman. And technically, Marvel's confirmed that Godzilla in Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe is the original Godzilla from the Marvel's 1970 crossover. So, and that apparently is part, as of this recording, this is part of Marvel's 616 canon. So I would take issue with that part too. And even if, you know, it's true that these characters, there are unique circumstances, that's right. And like I said, there are variants that are weaker than their main prime counterparts. You could still find out whether they hold up by looking at their own respective feats and such. But yeah, I would say I disagree with this in terms of just when it comes to analyzing power and analysts or whatever, but from where they're coming from, I can see why. I mean, it's very similar to how I don't really include video game, tabletop game characters in my analysis, because that's less about how powerful the character is and more apropos of the skill of the player in question.
Lightspeed foes like Gigan, blow up planets. However, the Hulk is beyond that.
The big guy.
Oh yeah, Junko Poster, that stuff came out during the research, and they just didn't really have the time to add that since it was coming out while they were finishing up, so they most likely had to compromise. That's fair, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that same thought occurred to me earlier, but I forgot about it, so thank you. Yeah, that's understandable rationale from this, but then again, I kind of feel like since they're leaving this note here, there's a chance that even had this had they had enough time to factor it in, they may have not have done so for the reasons they're giving now, unless this is just some sort of, oh hey, we know things constantly change, we're not going to have time to affect the final cut. But to each their own. Again, it's not like there's anything wrong with it.
Ripped the universe to bits and shook the infinite dimensions linked to the crossroads. In a straight fight with a classic Godzilla, 616 Hulk smashes the power advantage.
But factoring in Ultima changes things. The entity...
It's actually true. I would say, honestly, if we had... I actually agree with from a who's stronger perspective. Like, let's just... don't include any other powers, abilities, esoteric, hex powers, what have you. In terms of just sheer physical force, 616 Hulk absolutely smashes most versions of Godzilla with ease. Like, it's not really that much of a fight. Hulk can shatter planets as like just as something that happens in the wake of his battles, like as an afterthought. Like, that's already above the vast majority of Godzillas right there. And I know there are a lot of Godzilla fans who would, be like, Godzilla, oh, he's star level, universal level, oh, black hole level and such. And then, I could say something like, okay, if he's universal level, why was he trapped in a volcano for 5 years? And we're talking about Heisei Godzilla. Why is it that, something like the Oxygen Destroyer was able to destroy him, but then something like a black hole, which is honestly on a much greater order of magnitude, greater level, did nothing? And, this is part of the discussion. It can get fun. It can also get a little, annoying. But, these are things that I try to factor in. So if you have a good explanation for these sort of questions, then great. We can go from there. But again, I try not to I don't go down the power scaling rabbit hole too much, because I also factor in reverse scaling. It's all about coming up with a more consistently sound argument. It may not be like the be all end all, analysis, but it's just how I roll.
All of space-time and can manipulate its results at a whim. No matter how strong the Hulk got, Ultima could potentially negate it.
But Hulk broke chains made of the first firmament, which could overwhelm eternity.
An abstract concept of a being not entirely unlike Ultima's.
What do we got here? In the Singular Point novel, P-Lape suggests Ultima can lose by connecting it to an episode where it is defeated, essentially manipulating meta-narrative. This is one of the multiple proposed methods. Physical combat combined with the orthogonal diagonalizer is determined to be the most effective option. Yeah, they're pretty much on point with this one. The only thing I would also like to add in here is even the characters themselves talk about how, in many ways, Godzilla is like an imaginary character to them, or that they too, almost in some breaking the fourth wall moment, admit they are imaginary characters to Godzilla or to it. So it's basically like fictional characters interacting with figments of their own imagination, or something along those lines. It's really interesting. I mean, it's great. It could be fun having a discussion over, but as far as a series go with that sort of thing as its premise, it can be very well, you can already see my brain melting out of my ears, right? Just kidding. Those are my AirPods.
Even a small piece of the first firmament could break the multiverse. Plus, Hulk kept up with Odin Force Thor, who is also on a celestial level of power.
So the gap in power becomes nebulous. Still, unless Hulk could remove Ultima from the equation, neither held a clear advantage in power and stats.
Especially when you look at their immortality.
This was practically a never-ending death loop. Even with their healing factors, both could technically kill each other, but then just come right back.
The Green Door
Yeah, absolutely. I do think this is pretty, as far as taking characters at their absolute maximum. And again, we're talking about characters who have been described as having powers, abilities that go beyond, that are limit breakers. Like their power could be infinite or something. I mean, we've seen infinity pop up a couple times. Godzilla Final Wars suggested that Godzilla at the end of the movie had infinite power or something. Obviously, no limits fallacy applies. I wouldn't take it at face value personally, but I can see others doing that. But yeah, you are dealing with two characters who get stronger and stronger. The more, not only the more they fight, but the more they exist, the more that they're conscious, the more they, become aware of, their power. So there seems to be no end, and I totally believe that these two characters, if they were throwing down at the absolute peak versions of their most powerful selves, or how their fans see them, wink wink, nudge nudge, you see that, you see what I just did, they're essentially Death Battle, they're, whether they mean it or not, I think they're geniuses here. And indeed, this actually taps into something that's really quite remarkable, especially for like a fantasy fight here, because fans have their own notions of what is powerful, and we tend to take our own, views, beliefs, and such, and project it onto the things that, whether things that we love, hate, you name it. There's plenty of projection to go around. But what's essentially happening here is, and in some respects, comic book writers, filmmakers have, I'd say, they've written about this as well. If you know where to look, that would be fun to spot in some Godzilla projects. But they're essentially taking the two most powerful characters that are believed to be the strongest by the fans, and I think this is really interesting.
Appears when Hulk goes to the below place, and the higher dimensional entity could always summon a replacement Godzilla avatar, so both Hulk and Godzilla could not stay dead.
Unless they could somehow prevent what was happening in those other dimensions. So let's examine the layers of their multiverses. Marvel's Cosmos has infinite higher dimensions, which themselves are transcended by the astral plane, the superflow, and so on until you reach the house.
Jeez. Yeah, they did their homework.
Of ideas, the domain of the one above all.
Since the one below all mirrors the one above all, the below place mirrors the house of ideas. Get it?
In comparison, the cosmos of Godzilla's multiverse is just as vast and infinite, but does not have the same sort of transcending layers above and below.
Yeah, that's actually pretty true. I know there are some Godzilla fans that might be like spitting out their drinks and being like, heresy, you're not a real Godzilla fan, Kaijutopia. And you're right, the grift is finally over at last. I can no longer, pretend to be something I'm not. But yeah, in all seriousness, sure, there's a Godzilla multiverse. Yeah, but it's not quite as well refined as something like a Marvel multiverse or the DC cosmology. It's all very like the onion cosmology, layers. Yeah. I'd say the Godzilla multiverse is, exploring something like that is definitely more in the comic side of, storytelling, especially since it's way cheaper than, a movie or a TV series. So there's more you can get away with, especially, I mean, you're only the only limit to your budget essentially is like the skills of your illustrator and your imagination as a writer. So I guess we're seeing more of the Godzilla multiverse being kind of maybe finely tuned in the IDW comics, but that kind of opens up its own can of worms, because then, you know, you have some writers claiming their characters affect the IDW Godzilla multiverse as a whole, but then, you know, if you go up and ask other writers, is this true? They're going to roll their eyes and be like, what are you talking about? There's no real official response from IDW publishing themselves. It's not like they have a James Gunn or a Kevin Feige who, you know, who monitors this sort of thing, or if they do, they haven't really come out and said anything. So
It means below place, the Hulk's respawn point and source of power is out of the entity's reach.
So the real question is, if they both can't die and Ultima's entity can't affect the below place, could Hulk somehow stop the entity before it destroyed the universe?
It all comes down to Gamma and Archetype. Ultima.
okay, so in the Fractured Sun Hulk series, it says here, Hulk broke a pactum Aternaritus. I'm sorry, the text is really tiny, so you guys can correct me on what that says, or, you know, how to pronounce it. It is an unbreakable contract of reality set by the eldest child of the Mother of Horrors, an entity beyond existence and older than the one above all. Yeah, the Mother of Horrors is a very fascinating character or force. We haven't really seen it so far. I mean, we will hopefully soon. I mean, we've seen its skull or something, but it's still very much alive, and I don't know if it's true that it's older than the one above all. I mean, it could have, maybe they blatantly stated that somewhere in one of the comics, so forgive me, but I don't know if that part is true, but it's absolutely beyond existence. This is something that is so powerful. It was able to essentially take the Earth and cloak its existence, hide it from the one above all. Like, imagine being like at a level where the creator of the Marvel multiverse can't really see you, like can't find you, like, and in order to take you out, the one above all essentially hulked out into the one below all in order to beat the Mother of Horrors. So the Mother of Horrors, I hope we see more of. It's, in my book, arguably the most powerful giant monster, maybe not of all time, but one we haven't seen just yet. And I'm pretty sure it would likely best most, if not all, of the Godzillas. But hey. Reading some comments here. Mark says, I honestly was hoping Hulk becoming a kaiju to battle Godzilla for some good old-fashioned kaiju battle. Oh, so kind of similar to that Marvel What If show where Hulk became Mega Hulk. Yeah, that would have been dope. Is that what the cool kids are saying nowadays? Dope. I'm kind of behind. That would have been lit. Sean says, hey Kaijutopia. Hey Sean. Off topic. I can't say anything. I'm sorry. I just started learning how to talk today, chat. Anyway, continuing with what Sean said. Hey Kaijutopia, off topic, but the whole thing about burning Godzilla. Do you want me to share my thoughts on Discord? Yeah, feel free. Absolutely, my friend. Dick says, I was hyped when they brought up Godzilla in Hell. Yeah, but they also kind of didn't get into the specifics. But then again, Godzilla in Hell is a very, like, it's a bit complicated, because while it has a very interesting dynamic to it, it has an interesting mythology, it's also kind of like hotly controversial in some circles of Hell, because there's a huge disconnect between, well, seemingly a huge disconnect, I should say, between what the writers said or what their intention was versus the final product, what we saw, in the actual comics. And by that, I mean, for me personally, when a writer, like, a writer during the making of a project, they're God, right? They can do whatever they say goes. But the moment you publish it, the moment it becomes, shared with the rest of the world, you're like, it's no longer yours. So while writers absolutely can bring in context and clues, like I feel like illustrators for comics are equally up there with the writers themselves. Like Buster Moody, he's the illustrator for Godzilla in Hell issue 3. And he added some interesting context, suggesting that the moon that we saw at the start of issue 3 was, destroyed by Space Godzilla. There's nothing that contradicts this, so I accept it. And indeed, that seems to be roughly within the realm of that character's power. That's great. But, like, when you start suggesting that, like, I buy that the writers meant for Godzilla to kill God. I mean, a lot of people say that, and strangely enough, and I'm not alone here, quite a number of people read that and didn't think Godzilla actually did that. To us, it looked more like he sealed the portal away or something. But the writers, I guess, apparently have suggested that that's actually not what happened. Godzilla did kill God there, so okay, sure, but then you have more, people who in my humble opinion, ask what's called calibrated questions with the explicit purpose of getting an answer where you can go back and be like to your power ranking, Discord group friends, buddies, subreddit friends, and be like, see, the writers said this character is this powerful because, well, I essentially asked them yes or no, and they answered in the affirmative the way that I wanted. So it really does, I guess I don't really want to get too carried away with this part, even though I do think it's important. The reason why Godzilla in Hell is so hotly debated, and at times, like, you're either in the camp that believes he's the most powerful Godzilla. For a time, I thought that too. But what separated me from the camp that also believes he's not only the strongest Godzilla, he's like the most OP fictional character of all time is, well, most of those feats aren't really feats. Most of those achievements or things that you're saying that he can do are just claims. Granted, they come from the writers. Again, respect to the writers, but it's still not something that is visually corroborated by the actual story. Now, I could be absolutely wrong. Maybe if you're watching this, you might be the first one to actually do more than just state what you want to be true and actually maybe prove it, or, craft a very reasonable argument that challenges my position. So here's an example. Let's say Godzilla really did kill God in Godzilla in Hell. Why is this impressive? Well, because that God is the creator of the universe. Okay, not all gods are equal, but okay. There's also a difference between having the power to create something and being omnipotently durable, so have fun with that. But let's also say that there's a claim that this God created, like, the IDW Godzilla multiverse. That's what I've seen some people that I respect have, said that. When did we see any semblance of this in the comic or in the third issue, which is the only time this God Mountain character has popped up? Has that ever shown up anywhere else? Did we actually see anything in the story itself that proves that? That's it. That's all that's your homework. If you disagree with me, try and, cite something, and, like, maybe there's a page missing in my Godzilla in Hell book, which I have right here, by the way. Autographed by Buster Moody himself, right there. Yeah. Oh, sorry, right there. Yeah. I promise I didn't Sharpie it myself. No, he's a nice guy. I met him once at the Emerald City Comic Con. Pretty good person. Junko Poster says most of Godzilla in Hell's wackier statements also come from Versus Battle. People asking leading questions to try and force buffing answers out of writers, if memory serves correct. Yeah, essentially that's what I suspect is the case. And honestly, don't be surprised if the writers don't know themselves, or maybe, like, by this point, the Godzilla in Hell was written in what year? Like 20... 2017 or something, 2016. Quick little fact check, right? 2016. And when were these writers asked these questions? Early 2020s, 2021? It's been several years. You think these guys really remember or actually have the time of day to like give you more of an in-depth like look? I mean, they probably like sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because again, I don't really know these people. I don't want to like act like I'm in their head or I know where they're coming from, but they would be absolutely forgiven if it's just as simple as, hey, I don't know, I just have some fans asking me questions and I want to make them feel happy, and I'm excited because I got fans asking me questions about something that I've made that I'm really proud of, you know, that kind of thing. Justzilla says Mother of Horrors is really, in my opinion, I gotta catch back up on some Hulk. Yeah, really. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Mother of Horrors is an interesting new addition to the Marvel cosmology, and I would be very interested to see if we get to see her anytime soon. I hope we do. Hopefully we don't have to take, you know, spend the next 3 or 5 years to finally see her truly cut loose.
Was defeated in the anime by using a trans-temporal super-dimension calculator operating at infinite speeds to activate the orthogonal diagonalizer, turning archetype against itself.
Ultima endlessly spews this stuff, so there's plenty to work with. And Hulk can reach into comic book gutter space, so he should be able to reach through a singular point. But
okay, look, so I let this play on mostly because I've been doing a lot of talking, and I'm sure it might be boring at this point, but like the whole thing about how the orthogonal diagonalizer seemed to be affecting things on a trans-dimensional level, I buy that, but I also am kind of like, at a certain point, you know, when is it really doing all of that like you're saying? Is that really the case? I mean, I might look like a complete novice to somebody who's actually does have a PhD and understood Godzilla singular points, or maybe you've read some of the stuff, the excerpts from, you know, the novel itself, but like, a lot of this is still like suggested to be theoretical itself, and I'm kind of like in the whole, if that's really the case, then it sounds like Godzilla singular point is more than just some trans-dimensional entity, or he's more than just, you know, a universal tier being. It sounds like he's kind of like beyond just what we're used to being able to analyze this sort of thing. I'm kind of, what I'm trying to say is Godzilla singular point is a Godzilla multiverse unto himself, is kind of where I was meant to go with that.
that's enough.
Fortunately for Hulk, it just so happens he knows someone who, like scientists who have defeated Godzilla in the past, is an expert on particles from a greater dimension that mutate reality beyond our understanding.
Who made a device with those particles that breaks space-time, like the diagonalizer? Who made a supercomputer that scanned the infinite multiverse with the speed of a hypermind, like the dimension calculator? Hell, the guy made an interstellar radio out of sticks and stones in a matter of days, and even built an ultimate nullifier. It's like he was made for this.
The Green Door waits for no Hulk, including Banner. Even if Ultima's catastrophe destroyed the universe, the door...
Oh, look, it says, Godzilla briefly mutated from gamma radiation in an Elseworlds comic. It's possible this mutated Godzilla could appear in the below place, but it would be out of the entity's reach and no longer usable. Hulk could also absorb the gamma energy out of Godzilla. That's okay, so they did actually address this. I respect that. And yeah, the whole Hulk absorbing energy, or in this case gamma energy out of Godzilla, that kind of gets into the real, I guess, for me, it's less about strength and more about the fact that both of these are atomic powered monsters, and they'll likely keep absorbing the others' stuff, you know, the others' energy, and, you know, that would negate whatever damage, and, you know, they'll be fighting forever. kind of similarly to what happened in the Jason Aaron Godzilla versus Thor comic, where, you know, Godzilla and Thor, after like reshaping the Marvel universe with their battle, are still fighting in the afterlife. So yeah,
Could deposit Banner in a different universe and he could continue the fight.
He had all the time in the infinite multiverse.
There was only one way this could end, and only one person who could make it so.
Even among gods and monsters, man was the ultimate weapon.
The winner is Bruce Banner.
Next time on...
woo! I like that. That actually is a cool, unique way to end this matchup. I like how they had to say Bruce Banner is the winner. So, you know what? Yeah. I gotta say, that was... Well, first off, let me just say, again, major, like, respect to Death Battle, to their entire crew, from animators, VFX artists, sound designers, to the editors, to the voice actors. Like, everyone really, I think, delivered one hell of a great project here. They deserved to make big off of this. This was, you know, as a fan of both Godzilla and Hulk, seeing them clash in such an epic way and having one hell of a twist of an ending, just, it, you know, you have two characters that are all about, you know, sheer physical might makes right, and, you know, they're more known for their, you know, the destructive efficacies of their battles, but then the ending is kind of like really pretty dang smart. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. You know, and yeah, sure, I didn't agree on everything, all their reasons. I mean, you know, this video, how long is this stream already? What are we at, guys? An hour and 1 hour 50 minutes? We're almost at 2 hours already? Wow, that sure went by. But like, I gotta say, I loved it. That was pretty good. And technically, Hulk didn't win. Neither did Godzilla. I mean, they flat out state that a battle between these two are gonna, like, go on forever. And I guess it's kind of like Doctor Strange from Avengers Infinity War, you know, when he had to go through 15 million different timeline possible futures and find the one where they win. Like, you know, it's kind of like that until finally Bruce Banner found the one way they could win this, and I guess essentially activated the orthogonal diagonalizer, and it stopped Godzilla. But at the same time, not really, not permanently, because, well, essentially if what they were saying is true, in that all Godzillas are in some ways connected by a singular point, then, well, Big G will come back, right? That he always kind of does. Same way that the Hulk does. I gotta, I do. Oh man. I'm really not. Yeah, I really like this. I gotta say, I really do like how this ended up turning out, and yeah, major props to Death Battle. I guess, like, you know, I could definitely see some Godzilla fans being really hurt by this, but like, I guess what would really hurt more is the fact that you guys could, like, after all of that, watching something that took these guys several months to make, after everything they did, you know, you could just get super bummed or pissy about the fact that, you know, your favorite lost or something. But like, I beg you guys, I beg all the Godzilla fans who are watching this, that are, you know, zeroing in on, you know, Godzilla didn't win. In a way, he did. Godzilla is a pop culture icon. Look how far he's come. We're living in a Godzilla kaiju golden renaissance. there are bigger things happening right now. Don't let something like this ruin your day. And by the way, Godzilla didn't win, but he technically, I'd say, didn't even lose. Hulk didn't win, Hulk didn't lose. Bruce Banner won, but for how long? Like, this sort of thing goes on forever. Also, Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe is still ongoing. In the next couple months, we're more than likely going to see Godzilla and Hulk finally throw down, and my money is on Godzilla. You'll get, you know, everybody will win. I'm going to read some comments here. Junko Poster said, singular point be Wackyo. Tell me about it. From what I can tell, Godzilla is still technically alive due to Hulk just pulling what the nerds in the anime plus novel did and locking it. It, by the way, is, you know, what Godzilla Ultima's true form is called. Yeah, so what the nerds in the anime plus novel did and locking it out of the universe via screwing with archetype, so that's fun. Yeah, I do think this is a great observation. Thanks for sharing it. I think it's just one way this fight could have ended. I know they said in their narrative, like, out of a million possibilities, and most of which involved Hulk, by the way, getting atomized. Hulk technically lost like a million times in this fight. Godzilla lost only several times when he got his face nearly torn off and then his head literally torn off. But yeah, like, think of all that. Think of everything Hulk and Banner had to go through to finally earn that win. And it doesn't seem to be permanent, guys. It seems to be something that is subject to change very soon. Jungle Poster says, would have just been straight up a tie if it was purely Hulk versus Godzilla. Banner was the X Factor who gave them the dub. Yep, I agree. Justzilla says, yeah, fans of both characters win, which includes me. I enjoyed all of it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and yeah, I think Godzilla fans should pat themselves on the back here. This is, again, we're at the point where we're seeing the big G face off against not only the most popular characters, but the most popular, successful IPs. Godzilla's attacking the Marvel Universe. He's attacking the DC Universe. He's crossed over with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Soon he's going to cross over with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Kaiju number 8. We've also seen Godzilla cross over, of course, with Kong, Bambi. Like, we're going to get so many more Godzilla crossovers because Godzilla just is personally offended by by multiverse theory, it would seem. But yeah, share your thoughts. Let me know if you feel like this was like, do you feel like really in your heart of hearts, your Godzilla loving heart, that this is how it would have gone? Obviously, that's kind of like a loaded question. I mean, I talked about calibrated questions earlier, but so let me be frank with you. Let me just say, like, the truth is, every single one of us have our own, like, battles in our head that we could, like, right here and now determine. We could go out of our way. Like, I could in real time write out and explain how I would do a Godzilla versus Hulk stop motion battle. And yeah, I do factor in power levels, abilities into my videos. I'm one of the rare storytellers, filmmakers that do that. But you know, I also try to make sure that the project, the final cut, is entertaining and enjoyable to everybody. But, like, what would you do? What would you have done differently? I personally think, like, you could quite literally dedicate an entire comic book miniseries to just exploring the clashing mythologies of Godzilla and the Hulk. Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe is very interesting to me, and of course, I love Thor. So seeing Godzilla fighting Thor not too long ago was a dream come true, and you know, it's happening more. And in Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, Godzilla treats Thor like crap, which I'm not going to lie is kind of funny. But I do think Godzilla and Hulk, due to the fact that they have so much in common, but enough differences that you could tell so many, like an entire mini series, or maybe like, you know, consider hiring Al Ewing, who's currently doing Immortal Thor or Mortal Thor. He did Immortal Hulk. It would be really cool to hire him to do a Godzilla comic. IDW should do that. Hire Al Ewing and have him write Immortal Godzilla. That would be that would be badass. But and if that doesn't work, maybe try and get him to do like a little 5-issue, 6-issue crossover event of Godzilla and Hulk. That would be so cool. Maybe they team up against the Mother of Horrors. That would be cool. Imagine what the Mother of Horrors could do with some of Godzilla's rogues gallery. Let's be real, whether win or lose, we all still love Godzilla. This is, yes, Godzilla on point yet again. This is it. This is what we should remember. Keep that. Like, do you want to play games or do you want to win? You can keep playing, but this is the true victory in the matter. Godzilla is thriving. And I know some people I know personally are kind of tired of hearing me say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. What a time to be a Godzilla fan. What a time to be a Hulk fan. What a time to be a fan. But remember, what does it mean to be a fan? What does it mean to be an admirer or something that has inspired you, encouraged you? And what are the positive takeaways from that? So I guess the best thing we could do moving forward from here is, first and foremost, like this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Kaijutopia. Subscribe to Death Battle. Like that video. Like all their videos. Write to them. Leave a comment. Like, explain to them, like, tell them how you feel. But I hope that you're proud of the fact and thankful that they actually made something. This is a gift. Death Battle's Hulk versus Godzilla video is awesome. They did such a great job. And if there are people on the internets that are super negative and toxic and stuff, and obviously that's kind of a given, ignore them. They're unworthy. They're not worthy of you. Do not dignify them. Besides, in my experience, many of these guys don't really have much to offer anyway. Well, there's so much more to say, but like, I gotta say for now, how about this? Let's close on this. I don't think we've seen the last of Hulk versus Godzilla. Now, as I mentioned before, and I'm sure many of you are aware, there is this crossover called Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. According to the writer, according to Marvel, this is technically canon. It's part of the Marvel 616 main storyline. That's great. I kind of suspect that's going to change somewhere down the line. Don't be surprised if they retcon it, but until then, let's enjoy the show. And coming up, I believe in issue 4, we're on the second issue. I've already done breakdown videos of the series. It's ongoing. But we're a few issues away from seeing Godzilla and Hulk fight for the first time in a comic book. Death Battle might just... I don't think they're the first to actually have these two legends fight in a fan film. And it was a damn good fan film at that. But we're going to see Godzilla and Hulk officially fight. And I think it's going to be awesome. Now, is the universe going to end when they fight? Are we going to read more, like, are we going to read things that are going to be like, both monsters unleashed, galactic leveling supernova level explosion punches, and funny enough, you know, the city that they're fighting in is still, you know, standing. Oh, interesting. Yeah, of course something like that's going to happen. But I personally think this is something that, you know, it's fun to like, it's fun to look forward to that kind of thing. And mark my words, I don't think it'll be the last time either. I think we're going to see more Godzilla vs. Hulk content, more Godzilla vs. Hulk stories in the future. Sooner than we think. And I gotta say, what a big growth, exponential burst in recent years that we've seen. Like, remember, like, I'm old enough to remember when the idea of Godzilla having all these crossovers was just a pipe dream. Like, no way Toho would ever allow that to happen. But it's become a reality, and now it's becoming like something that we get to enjoy on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. Alright, my friends, I just gotta say thank you so much for watching. This was my first reaction video to someone else's content. If you would like to see me react to more videos, let me know. Let me know if I did a good job, or if you have any tips, suggestions, throw them my way. I'm absolutely open to criticism. Did I say anything that pissed you off or that you disagree with? Hey, let's have a good faith back and forth. I'll see you in the comments section. And, you know, I'm always ready. I'm always prepared to back up what I say. And, of course, you know, I hope you are willing to, you know, practice what you preach. Not only that, but also make sure that you, you know, bring your A game. Because I'm kind of like Goku. I'm like Hulk. You know, the more I do this, the more I fight, the stronger I get. Okay, oh. I gotta say, guys, it's been great. It's been surreal. I appreciate it. Please make sure to like the video. And yeah, I hope you all had a good time. Have a good rest of your weekend, of your Sunday. And I'll be seeing you guys again real soon. All right, love you all. Take care.